So what's your... I knew you were going to beat me today. All right, it's your turn. Go ahead. I knew you were going to get a Yahtzee. I knew it. Wait, do it again. Roll it again. I knew you were going to get a 1, a 2, a 4, and a 5, and a 6, which means nothing, but... Oh, hey, you just came right in time to interrupt our daily game of Yahtzee, in which Hope and I play multiple times every day, and she always wins. So, yeah, this must have something to do with the Bible, but first roll again. I got to see you roll one more time. Okay. I knew you were going to get that. So if you look at the stuff we have sitting here, I wonder if there's anything you can think of that has anything to do with Easter and leading up to Good Friday and Easter Sunday. How about you read that first part of the Bible?
All right. When the soldiers had crucified Jesus, they took his garments and divided them into 4 parts, 1 part for each soldier, also his tunic. But the tunic was seamless, woven in one piece from top to bottom. So they said to one another, "Let us not tear it, but cast lots for it to see whose it shall be." This was to fulfill the scripture which says, "They divided my garments among them, and for my clothing they cast lots." So the soldiers did these things.
So, well, that explains kind of the dice, because that's what they did. They were like gambling to see if they'd get his stuff. But what about this thing that looks like a sandwich, but it's actually a sponge? Does that come up somewhere? Do you have something else to read for us?
Yes. After this, Jesus, knowing that it was all now finished, said, to fulfill the scripture, "I thirst." A jar full of sour wine stood there, so they put a sponge full of the sour wine on a hyssop branch and held it to his mouth. When Jesus had received the sour wine, he said, "It is finished," and he bowed his head and gave up his spirit.
See, and I always think, like when you hear this part, that the people that were there at the time, the guards, they didn't know what was going on. They really had no idea, because they were gambling to get a garment. They had no idea that God was being killed on a tree right there and giving, the God who created the world sour wine. They had no idea what was going on. But God knew what was going on, because a lot of these things, like especially the gambling, this was talked about before this even happened, hundreds of years before. God knew exactly what was going to happen. He knew exactly how all these pieces were going to fit together. And he did it because of how much he loves you and wanted to know about you and forgive you. He knew everything you were going to do before it even happened. And still, he came down and went through all this for us. So, just thinking about this just makes me hungry.
Hey, I knew you were going to try to eat that.
It's not really a sandwich. It's a sponge. And it smells bad. So, hey, have a good day, and we'll see you tomorrow.